The festival was packed with people enjoying the night. People wore their favorite costumes, while some dressed up as superheroes, others dressed up as animals. Sayer and Rose approached a food stand without drawing attention and ordered the food they wanted to try. Rose ordered a fruit skewer and a cake filled with cream and strawberries. Her gaze fixed on the delicious food and her mouth watered, as she had never seen such delicious food. She took a bite of the fruit skewer and the cake. Seeing this, Sayer's eyes widened with joy. She began to stroke her head and, with a smile, asked if the food was delicious. Rose closed her eyes and nodded. Sayer turned around, and her gaze fixed on the others. Her eyes widened with curiosity as she remembered that this was a Halloween festival. While Rose was enjoying the food, Sayer began to observe the others in silence. She didn't know what would have happened if that incident had never occurred or if she had never made a contract with a demon. She began to imagine herself cheerfully chatting with Osiris. Realizing that without the demon's help she would not have been able to enter the academy alongside Osiris. With a lost gaze, she began to look at the ground. Her eyes filled with sadness, but she decided to stop thinking about the matter since she had to verify it. She began to imagine Wicker staring at her with a murderous gaze. Our boy asked if the name of the demon with whom she had made a contract was Sayer, one of the 10 elite corpses. Her eyes began to shine and with a curious and suspicious expression, she asked how Wicker knew this. For her, the Night Bloodhound was an unprecedented villain who had recently been painting fear into the city's nights. She could not believe that he knew about the existence of the 10 elite corpses. While the people were enjoying the festival, Sayer's gaze fixed on them. She began to observe in silence. And despite not knowing the reason, she was sure that the Night Bloodhound was obsessed with the demon Sayer that was inside her. So she knew that if she appeared in a place full of people like this, the Night Hound would appear. She placed her hand over her chest and couldn't help but feel fear when remembering our boy's swordsmanship. In the battle against Wicker, she tried to attack using a golem, but our boy cut it in half with a single strike with the help of the Beelzebub sword. In the past, when that incident occurred in the forest, she was saved by her uncle. The swordsmanship and the red aura that she had seen in her battle against Wicker had been similar to what she had seen in the battle of that night. To know if her instinct was correct, she had to remove the mask from the Night Bloodhound. She placed her hand over her chest and with a lost expression began to think of the worst. She did not know what would happen if the Night Bloodhound was really that boy. She did not know what that boy would say if he saw her now nor how he might have changed. Upon seeing her attitude, the attention of one of the men who was walking around the area focused on her, his eyes filled with confusion as he did not know what was happening. Camus could not help but get excited as she really wanted to see that boy, but just then, a voice interrupted her thoughts, asking her to stop thinking about that. A blue-haired woman wearing a hood appeared and began to whisper, advising her to stop thinking about those feelings that caused her a headache, promising that she would take care of everything. Upon hearing this, Camus came out of her thoughts and her eyes widened in surprise and fear. It was night and the moon was high in the sky. The hooded woman with blue hair had angel wings. She began to gaze at Camus in silence, and it did not take her long to realize that time was frozen, and apart from the demon Sayer and Camus, no one could move. The demon began to observe Camus in silence. Camus placed her hand on her chest and sank into her thoughts. She raised her head and with a furious gaze asked if this was not a clear breach of contract. The demon Sayer became curious and said nothing. Camus reminded her that the contract they had made stated that in exchange for borrowing her strength, when she died, she would give. She revealed that the moment the demon Sayer desired it, she could take control of her body for only 1 hour. The demon Sayer remained watching Camus in silence, not knowing what to say. Camus' eyes began to shine with seriousness. She turned her back on the demon and asked her to leave here, and also advised her to stop deluding herself into thinking she could control her as she wanted. The gaze of the demon Sayer fixed on her. She sank into her thoughts and couldn't help but go into shock. Then her eyes began to shine with evil, and a demonic smile spread across her face, showing her true nature. She got rid of the disguise she was wearing and began to transform. Angel wings disappeared, making a demon tail appear. Her hair turned blue and long, and horns grew on her head. Saya was a demon with 3 eyes. She approached Camus, placed her hands on her shoulders, and while her eyes were shining with evil, with a smile, she asked what she could do alone. Reminding her that her loved ones were gone and she had not been able to do anything to save them. Camus' eyes were full of determination. She clenched her fists and did not fall into the demon's trap. Saya's eyes widened with malice, and with a smile, she reminded Camus that she had stabbed the heart of her uncle who took care of her. And everything she had done on her own had been a disaster. Camus tried not to lose composure and with a lost expression began to gaze at the ground. Time had stopped just before Rose could eat the fruit skewer. Saya made it clear that thanks to her, Camus had been able to find her little sister, revealing that her ability allowed Camus to see the person she wanted to meet. Camus put her hand on her shoulder to remove Saya's hands, clenched her fist, and asked why she had not been able to find the most important person. Saya moved away from her, and her eyes filled with confusion and surprise. Camus did not raise her head and explained that the main reason she had made a contract with Saya had been to find that boy's corpse. Saya placed her hands on her shoulders again and became curious. Camus mentioned that she had not been able to find that boy, even though she had searched in the waters of the Red and Black Mountain for the last 2 years. Camus' eyes began to shine with hatred. She turned towards the demon and, with a suffocating gaze, ordered her not to stand in her way since she had finally found a clue that could allow her to see that person again. Camus began to concentrate to avoid falling into Saya's trap, and little by little, time resumed its course. Camus began to pant heavily because she was exhausted. Saya's gaze fixed on her, and her eyes filled with hatred. She was furious to see that Camus' mind was strong and had not yet been completely destroyed. Just then, the demon Saya turned around, and her eyes began to shine with curiosity. Her attention was fixed on one of the stalls. She could smell the blood of a demon. She felt someone ominous. Saya wiped her chin with her hand and with an unpleasant expression, advised Camus to flee since the air reeked of that disgusting aura that was unique to a demon hunter. Upon hearing this, Camus' eyes widened in surprise, leaving her in shock. Then, she clenched her teeth tightly and couldn't help but feel furious. Without losing another second, she started running towards the stall, knowing that person was there. The eyes of the demon Saya filled with confusion. She could not believe that instead of fleeing, Camus wanted to go to the stall from where the aura of the demon hunter came. With a furious gaze, she asked what Camus was doing. She did not stop and continued running with all her strength towards the stall, thinking that the aura must be from the bloodhound. She made her way through the crowd. And despite the fact that the demon Saya was asking her not to go, she paid no attention. Just then, someone launched fireworks into the sky, creating a beautiful spectacle. Camus began to pant heavily, and her eyes widened in surprise, and her gaze fixed on someone wearing the mask of the night bloodhound. She was near Wicker's stall and the others. And while the sky was filled with fireworks, at the entrance there were 2 people conversing with each other. Camus' attention fixed on them, and her eyes expanded in surprise, as she could not believe that the night bloodhound was a woman. The one wearing the night hound costume was none other than Dollars. She closed her eyes and with a kind smile asked the man to keep in mind that if he could not follow the rules, he would be expelled, so she asked him to enjoy his stay. A smile spread across Camus' face when she realized that Dollars was dressed as the night hound. Her eyes began to shine with hatred. She extended her hand towards Dollars and began to use mana. She was furious as this was very annoying. Without hesitating for a second, she raised her hand to the sky and consumed by rage, placed it on the ground, causing her mana to begin spreading across the floor, creating a powerful magic circle. The spell was so powerful that a giant circle expanded through the area, and not long after, skeletons began to emerge from the ground. Dollars' gaze fixed on them, and her eyes widened in confusion as she did not know what was happening. In an instant, several skeletons emerged from the ground and surrounded Sancho and Piggy, who clenched their fists without knowing what was happening. A horde of skeletons started chasing the people, who could not help but cry and feel fear, knowing that they were undead. The skeletons began to approach Bianca and Tudor. He clenched his fists, and with a confused expression asked if the woman wearing a mask had summoned these undead soldiers. Bianca took a defensive stance and mentioned that black magic was strictly controlled by the Empire, and was considered taboo. Upon hearing this, Tudor quickly realized that this woman was a villain. Little by little, more skeletons began to emerge from the ground, ready to attack. But just then, someone used divine power and purified the undead soldiers. It was Dollars. She extended her hand toward the sky, and while her body was releasing sacred light, with a determined gaze, she asked all the members of Lucan to assist her in keeping the stall's customers safe. Upon hearing this, Tudor, Sancho, and Piggy's eyes began to shine with seriousness. Anna was hiding behind the sign. Dollars' gaze fixed on her, and she asked Anna to go find a professor. Upon hearing this, Anna started sweating and with a confused gaze asked what she intended to do. Dollars asked her not to worry about it. She joined her hands and her eyes began to shine with confidence since her specialty was fighting against the undead. Camus jaw dropped upon seeing divine power, realizing that this was going to be annoying. With a furious gaze, she gave the order to Dollars not to get in her way since she had to meet the true Night Hound. Dollars joined her hands and while releasing divine power, asked why she wanted to meet the Night Hound. Camus stood up and asked what relationship she had with the Night Bloodhound. Upon hearing this, Dollars' eyes began to shine with determination. She concentrated and started staring at Camus in silence. With a confident expression, she revealed that she and the Night Hound were soulmates. Camus began to imagine Wicker and Dollars together and happy. Her eyes started to shine with hatred and she couldn't help but get angry. She reached out toward Dollars and swore to shatter her soul until turning her into an undead soldier. She commanded the soldiers, making a horde of skeletons start charging toward her. Dollars extended her hands toward the skeletons and used her divine power. With a confident gaze, she swore not to lose against them. Just before the skeletons could take another step, someone attacked with a powerful wave of mana, breaking them into pieces. Dollars put her arms in front of her face and her eyes widened in surprise and confusion. The person who had attacked was none other than Sinclair. She was holding a magic staff and her eyes were glowing with seriousness. Dollars panicked, reached out to the side and with a worried expression asked her to flee to a safe place since this was dangerous. Sinclair stood in front of her and refused, asking her not to worry about her. Sinclair's eyes began to shine with determination and her gaze fixed on Camus. She revealed that she didn't know why, but her instinct told her that she had to fight. Camus lost composure and attacked, creating a powerful burst of mana in front of them. Dollars and Sinclair panicked, not knowing what was happening. Just before the attack could hit, Sinclair used her powers and summoned a barrier, protecting herself and Dollars from the attack. Camus extended her hand toward them and began to release more mana. Her eyes widened with hatred, making it clear that the only thing she wanted to do was see the Night Hound, advising that if they did not want to die then they should call him and ask him to come here. Dollars extended her hands to assist Sinclair. Sinclair, who was blocking the attack, couldn't help but clench her teeth upon seeing that Camus could summon undead and on top of that use fire magic of this caliber. She didn't know how much mana she had. Just then, the barrier she had invoked to block the attack began to crack. The attention of both was fixed on it, and their eyes widened in surprise and fear. Someone wearing boots appeared. Camus continued attacking, and little by little they began to approach her. Her eyes expanded in surprise, making her jaw drop. She couldn't help but be in shock. Her strands of hair began to float. And then, the real Night Hound appeared and with a penetrating gaze attacked Camus. She put her arms in front of her chest and blocked the attack. Her eyes expanded with joy. And a smile appeared on her face upon seeing that he had come. Just before she could finish the sentence, Wicker began to extend his hand toward her with a murderous look. Our boy grabbed her by the neck and threw her backward, making her body shoot out, crashing into the stalls and destroying everything in its path. This is the end of the video. If you guys want to see the next part, so subscribe to our channel, share the video, and like.